in today's Kin Stretch with Nathan class, we are going to be focusing on the shoulders. Specifically, we're going to be focusing on the glenohumeral joint, which most people just simply refer to as the shoulder. We're going to be focusing on scapula / shoulder blade mechanics, and we are going to be looking at the thoracic spine. This class is going to be roughly 35 to 45 minutes, depending on kind of how the rundown goes for this recording. As far as equipment goes for today's class, you are going to need a pair of tennis balls, at the very least 2 yoga blocks. I have a whole stack over here just in case for any reason I decide as we go through this to show you all different variations of things. For those of you who may have more yoga blocks or more props, I'll help accommodate for people. I also have a chair sitting over here that we will use for some thoracic spine drills. And then I have the stick mobility pole, which will be used to take the place of like a PVC pipe or a broomstick or something like that. So you don't have to have one of these fancy sticks. As long as you got something like this, you'll be good to go. And it does not need to be this tall. If you have one that's, your standard broomstick height, you'll be just fine. Now, for today's class, like I mentioned, we're going to be focusing on the shoulders and the thoracic spine. So, real quick, let's talk about some anatomy and let's talk about some of the whys and things to pay attention to for today's class. So, first things first, we know that the shoulder is a ball and socket joint. We also know that because of the ball and socket joint, or basically because the shoulder is the type of joint it is, its fundamental movement is going to be rotation, specifically internal rotation. So we're going to be focusing on internal rotation to start, and that is so that way we can talk to the deepest tissues first and get into the capsule space so we can work from the inside out. From there, when we look at the spine is not going to be a rotational start. The spine has different rules, and compared to some of the other joints in the body, the spine is going to have a linear start. So for the spine, we're going to be starting with things like segmentation of the spine, working on making each and every piece function better before we get into rotation. From there, things to be concerned about. Remember guys, closing angle pain or closing angle, basically anything, is something to, at the very least, pay attention to. So what do I mean when I say closing angle pain or closing angle feelings when I talk about the shoulder? So to keep it a little simple, when we're looking at the shoulder, we want to think about the direction we're moving into. So, if we are moving into overhead flexion, and we get a pressure or a pinch or something that comes across the back / top of the shoulder as we move into it, that is something to take note of. That typically means that there is a tissue issue or some kind of capsular issue in the joint as we go into this direction. Ideally, what we want to feel is as we come up into overhead flexion, we would ideally like to feel things in the front be what stop us, such as the chest, such as the lat, maybe down here, just tension on the opposite side. So ideally down here, slightly in the front is where we would like to feel stops. We don't want them to be up here, at least in regard to this motion. Now, when we're doing rotational exercises, so say we're going to do internal rotation, which we're going to work this today. If we're pushing down into internal rotation, we do not want to feel anything pinchy on this inside edge of the shoulder. We're going to be laying on the ground, we're going to be rotating. So, if you feel something pinchy in here, that's, again, something to be concerned about. We should try to work around that pain. Maybe we don't push as deep. maybe we just simply try to avoid that position and work in more of a seated position, which I'll show you guys. The stretch for that position should come across more of the back side slash the top side. It should not be in the front. So just so you understand that fully, if this is our arm and we're going to twist this way to the inside, this is the closing angle. We're rotating in, so if we have pinches on the inside, that is a no-go. We don't want to do that. But if we have big stretchy feelings on the outside, perfectly fine. That's what we want. So try to remember the closing angle rules as we go through this stuff. And most importantly, as we're starting the movements and going through our CARs, or our controlled articular rotations to warm up our joints, make sure that you take advantage of using this time as a scan and a self-assessment. I do not want anybody to force through anything from the very beginning. If you're a little tight, that's one thing. But if you have pains and weird pressures and you feel physical roadblocks, like hard stops, you need to work within your capacities, and I want you to focus on making things work nice. So, without further ado, let's get to it. So we're going to start with our tennis balls. And I'm going to be in kneeling and seated positions for the most part. I'm not going to be doing a whole lot of standing, and that's just so I can stay within the frame of the video. As I'm working around doing shoulder movements and I'm down here in these kneeling positions, if you know you will be more comfortable standing, I want you to stand. I will do my best to remind you guys when to stand, when to sit, and all that good stuff as we go through. So, let's do it. First thing I actually want to start with is going to be the neck. And the reason we start with the neck is because when it comes to the shoulders, the neck and the shoulder go together. There's a whole lot of evidence that shows us that all these muscles in the necks and the nerves in the neck are going to greatly correlate with what type of function we get out of the shoulders. So we're going to start there. We're going to keep our tennis balls in our hands. And I'm going to be sideways here so you guys can see this. First things first, reminder for bracing, guys. So we want to take big breaths in and a big exhale. At the bottom of the exhales, we should feel like we're flexing out. So what I mean by that is we should feel like we're kind of pushing the body out in 360 degrees. So if you were going to grab yourself around the waist and squeeze in, you take a breath in, breath out, squish yourself in on that exhale. And at the bottom of the exhale, you should just flex. And you should feel like you push your hands out. And you want to feel pressure 360 degrees. That is the bracing that is necessary for everything we do throughout this class. So make sure you keep up with that as best you can. I will remind you throughout. So, from here, we're standing, or you're kneeling like me. Whichever one is most comfortable for you. So, regardless, standing or kneeling, we're going to tuck the butt. We're going to squeeze our butt cheeks. And now our legs should feel fairly strong, or at least semi-tight on the ground. From here, we're going to find our bracing. We take that breath in, we take that breath out, and we flex. And we find that tension throughout our torso. Now we're going to give our tennis balls a little squeeze. We're going to kind of put some tension through the back and the shoulders and the arms. And all that is going to allow us to statue the body so the neck can get all of the attention. So first things first, I want you guys to think double chin. So we're going to pull the chin to the throat as best we can, and then we're going to slowly start to peel the neck open by tucking the chin down. And you guys are going to think chin to chest as you peel the neck open, and this should feel like you're almost giving yourself a stretch in the back of the neck. As soon as you feel like you have run out of room, we're going to very gently pull just a little more, and then we're going to reverse it. And as we reverse it, we're going to keep this double chin effort, and we're going to think about pulling from the base of the neck. Base of the neck is going to pull backwards and down, and we're going to think one piece at a time as we go backwards and down. Trying to inch our way back, core is tight, the ribs are down, until we get all the way back into extension, and the chin pops up. From here, try to crank the chin in towards the throat, down towards the chest, in an attempt to move one piece at a time, and peel the neck open into another active stretch as the chin hits the chest. And we reverse it again. Chin stays tucked, base of the neck pulls backwards and down, and then we think segment by segment as we pull backwards and down until we work our way through the whole neck, and the chin pops up at the top, and we reverse it one more time. Double chin, tuck it, roll it in, roll it down. Do your best to control this as much as you can. And then we're going to reverse just by pulling the base of the neck back again until we get to neutral. And then we can kind of shake things out from there. Now, from here, we're going to go ahead and go into the shoulder blades, because we don't really get a whole lot out of this joint if the shoulder blade doesn't know how to come along for the ride. So, today we're going to do our shoulder cars in two different ways. One of them is going to be in a frontal plane, so that's going to be going this way, up and down this way. And the other one is going to be sagittal plane, which is going to be forwards and backwards, but we're going to do that with a little bit of elevation. So, first, we're going to go frontal plane. We're going to be like this. So again, you can be kneeling or you can be standing for this one. Now, this is going to be a little funky, and I don't want you to be surprised if you feel lost or if you feel like you have no idea how to control this stuff. Just listen to my cueing, do your best to control your tissue, and remember, tension is your friend when you're trying to find new stuff. So if you don't feel the space between your shoulder blades when I tell you to squeeze it, flex it harder. If you don't feel the stuff under your shoulder blades when I tell you to flex it, you flex it harder. And that's what I want you to try to remember as we go through this. But remember, if there's pain, you're not going to force through. So, our arms are out. We're thinking kind of a cross type position. And we're going to take a breath in. We breathe out. We flex our core. We find that bracing. And I want the legs to feel fairly solid. And the rib cage is not allowed to move from this point on. First things first, we're going to keep these tennis balls in hands, and I want you guys to try to pull the shoulder blades back behind you and squeeze them together. From this position, this movement should be one of the easier ones to find. If you don't quite have it, just imagine there's a walnut between your shoulder blades, and I want you to squeeze until you crack it, or at least until you feel some good tension. From here, we're going to hold that squeeze together and in on the back side, and then we're going to try to drag our shoulders down to the ground as we hold that squeeze, just as far as we can. We're all going to move differently, and that's okay. From the bottom here, it's going to get weird. Now, we're going to think reach out to the walls to your sides. So we punch, we attempt to open the shoulder blades, and you're going to feel some weird stretchy stuff, and reach into those walls, and then as you're reaching out, you're going to shrug up. And try not to arch your back or move your rib cage. We're still reaching out, we're still shrugging up, and then once we've maxed out at the top, we're going to try to squeeze back in and together. From here, we're going to keep that squeeze. We're going to drag our shoulder blades all the way back down. We're then going to reach back out to the walls, open the shoulder blades, and then we're going to shrug back up into the ears. We're going to pinch everything back in together again, and then we're going to drag everything back down. And we're going to do that 2 more times. So we're at the bottom, we're pinched together. We reach out through the fingers. We keep the reach out as we shrug up. At the top of the shrug, we retract and squeeze the shoulder blades together. And then we drag down again. Big drag down, big squeeze, best we can. Reach out at the bottom again. Big reach, drag through the knuckles. And shrug back up as clean as you can. Feel those shoulder blades slide across your body. As we get to the top, and we retract in, and then we reach back out, back in, back out. You guys can shake them out. So that's our that's our frontal plane scapulocar working in this compartment, or this area here. Not really a compartment, but hopefully you guys follow. Now we're going to go into the sagittal plane. So, sagittal, I'm going to turn sideways here. Hands are going to be out. Now, I'm going to do my absolute best to not compensate, to give you guys a good example. I'll be honest with you, lately my body's not been my friend, and things have been a little harder to control. So I'm going to do my absolute best for you guys to keep this as solid as possible. Pay attention to my cueing, and you should be just fine. So, from here, you guys are either standing or kneeling. Doesn't matter to me. You could even be sitting for this one if you'd like. So we're going to tuck the butt. Cheeks are tight. Core is tight. We take our breath in, take our breath out, and we brace. Flex it out, lock it in. Now, hands come up into flexion. And we're going to go up to just about eye level. Maybe just a little bit more. We'll say forehead level. Top of the head. Whatever you want to call it. Now, from here, our hands should be just outside shoulder width. So your hands should be on the outsides of the shoulders. Now, from here, core stays tight, ribs stay down, and we're going to reach up and into our knuckles. Protracting and reaching the shoulders forward as best they can without falling forward and crunching. The spine does not move. This is just shoulder blades reaching. From here, we're going to try to shrug up, keeping that forward reach. Now, we're going to go backwards. We retract. We crack our lovely walnut between the shoulder blades. And we try to slowly and controlled drag the shoulder blades down. And as they go down, we're not going to let the back arch and sink. We're going to keep the hips tucked, the core tight, and they're only going to go down as much as they let us. From the bottom, we punch forward. Big drag, reach, feel all that chest stuff talk to you. And then we keep the hands up as we shrug up. Still punching forward. Retract backwards at the top. Drag everything down, keeping the hands up as best you can. And we punch forward again. And now we reverse it. So our hands are still up. We're still punching forward, but we're going to try to drag forward and down. And this one's tricky, trying to keep the shoulder blades separate from the hands. And then from the bottom of that, we drag backwards, squeeze, and then we shrug up, keeping all that squeeze in the back, as high as they can get. We punch forward at the top again, and then we keep that forward effort as we drag our shoulder blades down. We retract and squeeze backwards one last time. We shrug up, keeping that squeeze. One last time, one last big punch forward, and then just kind of ease off and just kind of shake it out from there, because I know that gives you a little shoulder burn. So now we've given the neck a little love, we've given the scapulas a little love, so now we're going to get into the shoulder joint itself, and we're going to do this one arm at a time. We're still going to use both tennis balls though. And now for this one, this is probably going to be easier if you're standing. I'm going to stay seated just so it's easier for you guys to see it, or kneeling, excuse me. So we're going to work the right arm first, but my left hand is going to kind of pull into my body, strong, and I'm going to try to feel tension going up and down this left side. Now, the right arm is going to first fully externally rotate. So I'm going to turn my bicep up into the air, and I'm going to face my palm to the sky with that tennis ball in my hand. From here, we're going to go slow, and we're going to cut low across the body. Our core is tight. We've braced and everything is locked in, by the way. So if you haven't done that, freeze right now. Brace. Lock it in, and we cut across. You're going to cut across until you run into your own chest. Guys, you will be able to go farther than the ladies for obvious reasons. And from here, once you run out of room, we're going to keep the elbows straight as we carve out this inside shoulder space, cutting across our face, and then making our way up into overhead flexion. As we get up into overhead flexion, if you see a rib poking out, we want to exhale hard and suck that rib down. And we're going to pin it there, make sure it doesn't move. Elbows straight, and now at the very top of this, we're going to pull back just a little bit more, and then we're going to grip the tennis ball. We're going to spin that tennis ball out and away from us, and we're going to corkscrew that entire arm all the way up into the shoulder joint as we reach back and behind us. And we're turning from the bicep as best we can. So we should finish fully internally rotated. Our tennis ball should be poking out to the side, and we're going to go through it again. So now so you guys can see the side here, we're still in our posture, everything's still strong. We're going to first pull this right shoulder blade back, and then we're going to pull the arm back. And as the arm goes back, we are not going to dump forward. We're going to make sure the body stays tall, and we can see our shoulder just glide backwards as much as possible. From here, we rotate. Big twist through the bicep, untwisting that arm. Our chest is trying to stay as still as possible, and we're really going to let that hand and forearm crank away some rotation so we can maximize what's going up into the shoulder. We're going to keep twisting over as we come back and behind us, coming up to our overhead flexion position again, and then we're going to reverse it from here. So our ribs are tucked. That left arm should be nice and strong to your side. We're going to lock out the elbow, pull backwards, grip our tennis ball, turn the tennis ball out and away from us, crank through the forearm for rotation, crank through the bicep for rotation, and follow that back and around as best you can until it ends up back at your side. From here, we have another half rep. We pull the whole shoulder backwards. We extend the arm, tricep and back of the shoulder is hot, and we twist. Rotate, rotate, big twist, constantly fighting for more, controlling the rib cage as it comes back and around, up and overhead. From here, remember how we started? It's the reverse now. So we cut across the body, turning the tennis ball up, and we just complete our circle, coming back to the side. And now, we do all that again on the left side. So I'm going to switch my knees, and if you're standing, you should be fine. Switch your arms. If you're kneeling like me, switch your legs, give your lower body a little break, a little mix-up. Right arm is now to the side, left arm is now the focus. Same game. So we take our core, inhale, exhale, lock it in. Statue torso. Right arm, pinned to the body, left arm. Externally rotating. Turn the tennis ball, turn the bicep. From here, we cut low and slow across the body. We're going to try to feel out this space in the chest, carve it out, work with what you got. Pay attention to any pinchy, nasty feelings. Remember, we work around those. We do not force into them. We cut around as best we can as we come up into overhead flexion. And we make sure this rib on this left side stays down. So we're going to take a breath in, exhale, and we should try to sink it. As that rib pins itself down, we're going to try to work the shoulder for a little extra juice. And then from here, we grip our tennis ball. Triceps should be locked out. And then we turn the tennis ball, we turn the bicep, and we reach backwards. And we constantly fight for rotation as we spin through that arm and shoulder. Just like on the other side, we're going to end up fully internally rotated. We're going to pull backwards. Big extension, crank it back, core is still tight. As that maxes out, we unscrew the arm, we turn through the hand, the forearm, and the bicep, attempting to reach behind us as we fight for more rotation all the way through. We end up at the top, elbows straight, core is solid, we reverse it, we pull back for more, and we twist. Corkscrew the arm, turn the tennis ball, the bicep, the elbow, the forearm. Everything goes with you as we come all the way back and around, making your biggest circle possible. And we extend, pull back, big pull, squeeze the back of the shoulder, rotate, turn the bicep, turn the forearm, turn the hand, big twist, constantly fighting for rotation as we come all the way around and up. And then just like the other side, we cut across the body as best we can, completing our circle as we end up by our side. And that's our shoulder and our neck. So now we're going to go into the spine. For the spine, we are going to need 2 yoga blocks. So for these 2 yoga blocks, one of them is going to go between the legs. One of them is going to go on the chest. So first, with the spine is linear segmentation. Very similar to how we did the neck. Now we're doing it with the thoracic spine. So thoracic spine, just so everybody knows, is the rib cage section of the spine. From the base of the neck to the bottom of the ribs, that is thoracic. That is what we're trying to focus on. So lower back is trying to not be involved. Neck is really just kind of coming along for the ride, but we're doing our best to take it out of the picture as much as we can. So block, horizontal on the chest, hug it, don't crush it. Little tension, nothing crazy. First, block between our legs, we squeeze. Easiest way to maintain that is scoot your knees closer together than you think they need to be. If you're standing, scoot your feet closer together than they think they need to be, and give them a squeeze. Now, butt gets tight, squeeze the cheeks, chin goes to the chest, and now from here we pull the abs in and we brace. Inhale, exhale, flex, lock in that core. Now we're going to think about the chin actually leading our crunch. So we're going to think chin to chest, and then we're going to let the head fall and pull us down into segmentation or flexion going forward. We're thinking one piece at a time. We're going nice and slow, trying to really peel open that upper back, and the hips are trapped in cement. We're going to go just as low as we can until we feel like we're going to fall forward, and then once we hit the bottom, we're going to squeeze the butt, and we're going to push the lowest rib forward, and we're going to bend backwards over that section. So the bottom rib goes forward, and then the upper is attempting to go backwards. So it's counter movement here as we do this. So we're trying to continue this forward rib lean back feeling as we walk up through the thoracic spine, up through the rib cage. We're going to lift the chest as we come higher. We're going to lift the collarbones as we come higher. We're going to keep the core as tight as we can. We're going to do our best to bend the rib cage backwards, like we're going to crank open the rib cage. Big open, big extension. We are not going to throw the head backwards. We are just doing our best to pull the neck backwards so that we can talk to the higher parts of the thoracic spine. As we get to the top, we're going to lift the elbows, trying to go just a little deeper. And then as we get to the top, we're going to inhale, exhale, elbows come down, head comes down, and we peel back open. Piece by piece, as we crunch down, opening that thoracic spine, coming all the way to the bottom, and then from the bottom, we reverse it. Bottom rib goes forward, next rib goes kind of up and forward, up and forward, up and forward, bowing the spine, trying to flex through the spine to feel all these lovely pieces. Chest bone's going to lift, collarbones are going to lift, elbows are going to lift, and we extend through that upper back. Pull the base of the neck backwards. Flex the upper spine. Inhale, exhale, breathe, don't forget. Keep trying to extend. And as we get to the top, we're going to challenge it just a little more with a little more elbow reach. And then we reverse it. Elbows come down, shin goes down, and we're just going to fall to kind of like a neutral, and then relax. Nothing too crazy there, subtle warm-ups, because we're going to do a little bit more with the spine as we go through this. Now, let's go into the shoulder. So, for the shoulder, there's two different setups here that we can do. And actually, you know what? Let's just do this a little differently, and let's do this the easy way. And by easy way, I mean the less aggressive way, so we can get a little bit more work done a little faster. So, as long as you're comfortable, you're going to sit in a position like this. So, my right leg is straight out, my left leg is bent, and my left elbow is going to sit on top of my left knee. So I'll turn just a little so you guys can see this a little differently. This is where we're going to be. I do want a tennis ball in the left hand. So first, left shoulder is the focus. We're going to think left shoulder blade, we're going to pull it back, and we're going to gently tug it down. Just a little. You should feel some tension around that shoulder blade, kind
kind of building, and then our core should feel relatively strong, to say the least. If this position, seated on the ground, is not comfortable for you, I want you to take a chair and or sit on your couch, or maybe even sit back up against a wall so your back has some support, and try to put yourself in a variation of this position where the back is supported so we can focus on the shoulder without the lower back and the hip flexors just screaming at you. So from here, brace the core. Shoulder blade goes back, we tug it down, and now the right hand is going to grab on top of the left wrist. We're going to push the left wrist down with the right hand until we begin to feel a pressure and or stretch build around the left shoulder. So that stretchy pressure feeling should feel like it comes up on top or the back side. There should not be anything here in the front part of the joint. If you do feel that, you need to back off and repack your shoulder blade and start over. So once we know we have a good stretch, we're going to inhale, exhale, and try to just settle into the stretch. We're going to do this for 3 more breaths. Inhale, exhale, settle. And again, inhale, exhale, relax the shoulder. Imagine there's a little string on your chest bone. Let's try to keep that up. Otherwise, it's going to be very easy to fall forward. And we try to push that arm down just a hair more. We have 2 more breaths. Inhale. Exhale. One last time. We inhale. Exhale. All right. From here, hopefully you at least settled into the position better. Maybe you opened up a little deeper into the stretch. Now, right hand is going to cinch down nice and tight on the left wrist. From here, imagine your left arm is a statue. Your right hand is going to push down on that statue arm, and the left is going to resist it. And we're going to start that at 10% effort. So a subtle push down on the right, followed up by immediately by a subtle blocking of the left. 10%. And now we're going to go to 20%, pushing down and resisting. We'll creep to 30%. And now as we go up from here, your core tension must match the shoulder. So if we're at 40% resistance in the arm, your core is at 40% resistance. And now we're going to go to 50% everywhere, 60, 70, and 80/your safest, greatest effort, whatever that might be for you. So you should feel strong contraction, strong fight. We're going to hold this for about 5 more seconds. 3, 2, 1. Freeze where you're at. Do not move. Now your right hand is now going to try to pick up your left wrist, but the left wrist is still going to resist. And we're going to start at 10%, trying to lift it. And then to 20, keep your shoulder blades still. To 30%, to 40. Remember, core matches. Everything is at 50. Everything is at 60. Everything is at 70, 80, ramping up to your safest, greatest effort as you're trying to pull this wrist up for another 3, 2, 1, and now relax for real, but stay in the position. Inhale, exhale, and if we did that right, we should get a temporary opening of increased range of motion. Maybe 5 degrees, maybe 25 degrees. Probably not more than that. From the bottom of the new stretch, take a breath in, take a breath out, 1 more, and exhale. And relax. All right, give the legs a little bit of a break here. Now I'm going to sit in a little crisscross position here. You can kneel, you can stand, you can sit however you'd like to. This is just convenient for me to sit like this, and this is where I'm going to be. Same shoulder we just worked. Elbow is going to come up to a 90 degrees, and now we're going to go through some axials here. So if I turn sideways, so you guys can see this, elbow is about in line with the shoulder. Now, we're going to just rotate back and forth. Imagine your bicep and your tricep are a rotisserie chicken, and the bone of the upper arm is the spike it's rotating on. So we're going to swivel that bone in the joint, and we're going to attempt to internally rotate as deep as we can. Now, we are not going to let the shoulder jump up. The shoulder blade has to stay down from here as we attempt to rotate in for more. And challenge the tissue a little bit, but don't force anything nasty. Now from here, squeeze that tennis ball and reverse it. Elbow stays still in the air as we rotate backwards. And now as we rotate back, we're going to let the shoulder blade be loose so it can almost peek around the side of the rib cage as we pull the back of the arm and the hand back for more. Into more external rotation. Keep your ribs solid and your core solid. Rotate down. Twist, twist, twist. Challenge the internal rotation and reverse. External rotation. And internal rotation. Take yours as far as it can go. Some of you may go farther than me, and that's okay. Big twist, big twist. Rotate. Bring it back as far as we can go. Wrist goes backwards. Fight to corkscrew that arm. And one more going in. For number 3, internally rotate. Last one going back. Externally rotate. And relax. All right. Check that out if you need to. We're going to do all that again on the opposite side. So, my left leg is now straight. My right knee is going to be my resting position for my elbow. And remember, I want you guys to set up in your most comfortable position for this. If this is giving you trouble here, one thing you can also do is maybe sit on your couch or maybe sit at the dining room table or something like that, a desk. Set your elbow on the desk and then push down from there. That might give you a slightly better setup to keep you more comfortable. If you have any questions, please just message me and let me know. So from here, same game. We stay tall, core's tight. We grab the right wrist with the left hand. We pack the right shoulder blade back and down a little bit. And then we push the right wrist down until we get a stretch. And remember, at the bottom of that push down, make sure you didn't push your body down. So think chest. And inhale. Exhale. Try to settle into the stretch. Inhale. Exhale. Settle into the stretch. Inhale. Exhale. See if you feel it. Try to let go. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Try to let it go. Now from here, if it opened, great. If it didn't, stay where you're at. We flex the core again. Make sure we didn't get lazy. We grip our tennis ball tight. Just like on the other side. The right hand is going to start to push down at 10% and the left, reverse that. The left hand is going to push down at 10% and the right side is a statue. So 10% down, 10% blocking. And we increase to 20 and to 30. And as we hit 40, the core must match. And then 50% everywhere, 60% everywhere, 70%, good little fight, 80%, strong fight, taking it up into your safest, greatest effort, which should feel like a solid battle, but you should be in control. No pain, keep it clean. 3, 2, hold strong, and 1, freeze. Lock down on the right wrist with the left hand, and now slowly attempt to lift the right wrist up at 10% effort, and the right arm holds still. And then we try to lift up for 20 as the right arm resists, and to 30, and to 40, core is solid. 50, everything is solid. 60, stay solid. 70, stay solid. 80, stay solid. Your safest, greatest effort. Fight, fight, fight. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease off. Take a breath in, take a breath out, and then re-engage your stretch. What did you get? Hopefully a little bit more. Remember, chest bone up. I'm guilty of it too. Keep your chest up. And relax. All right. I'm going to go cross-legged again. You guys go whatever position you did last time. And we're going to go through the axial rotations of the shoulder again. So, sit relatively tall, or as tall as you can, at the very least. Elbow comes out to about that 90-degree point, and we're going to start with internal rotation. So first, shoulder blade comes back and tucks down just a little, and then we hold that still as we internally rotate the arm as best we can. Challenging the range of motion, but not doing anything to piss off the tissue. This should just simply feel like we're training, not like we're hurting. Give it a little challenge, rotate, spin, spin, flex the wrist, flex the bicep, tricep, everything, come backwards. Challenge your external rotation. Remember, we let go of the shoulder blade here, almost like it's going to peek around the front. Keep rotating backwards, rib cage is still, and we rotate down. Spinning our rotisserie chicken bicep thing on our upper arm bone, trying to find our rotation. Challenging the internal all the way down, and reverse, external rotation. Shoulder blade is loose, core is strong, fighting for more, pull back. And one last time, we rotate in, strong fight, coming down, challenging ourselves as best we can. And one last time, we rotate backwards, open shoulder blade, strong core, fighting for more. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Check it out if you need to. All right, guys. So, shoulders, that's where we're at right now. Those are basically completed for the most part, at least for now. And now we're going to get a little bit more into the thoracic spine. So the thoracic spine is going to be a rotation thing. So I'm just going to move my pole out of the way. We're going to bring the chair over. All right. So we bring our chair over. We're just going to set that down, nothing crazy. I do want you guys to try to make sure you have a chair with a back on it. I promise you, it's going to make a big difference. You need those handles, basically, is what they're going to be. So I'm going to turn my chair a little bit so you guys can hopefully see this a little bit better. I'm pretty much all the way back in my chair. I'm going to try to think good tall posture. My feet are going to be kind of on the inside edges of the chair itself as a way to block my hips. And we're going to just use our arms to crank ourselves into rotation. So I am twisting to my left side. My left hand is going to come around the back of the chair as a way to push this way. And my right hand is going to come around kind of down low as a way to pull me deeper. So I'm using these two to create torque so I can get more rotation. Now, do your absolute best to not let your butt shift in your seat. Very difficult to do so. Keep your butt glued down. No swiveling, no sliding. It's very hard to do that, but try to keep it pinned down. So we use our hands, and we're going to twist, and we're just going to pull like we're going to pop our back. I know a lot of people do this just day in and day out. We're not trying to pop, although you might get that. We're just going to stretch and twist until we feel a nice good pull that goes through really as much of our back as we can get it to go through. So once we've gotten to a good stretch position, and this should be a manageable stretch, not a crazy intense hard stretch, we're going to breathe. Inhale. Exhale. Now don't let the inhale push you out of the stretch. Try to inhale and let it help your stretch. Body is still. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Big breath into the ribs all the way around. Exhale. Let's go one more breath. Inhale. Exhale. All right. Now, from here, we're going to do this light. This is not going to be a heavy contraction. So what we're going to do, our hands are going to lock down. So they are blocking us completely. Our legs are going to flex still. And now we're going to attempt to turn our chest to our right. But our arms are going to keep us still. So arms are going to be working hard, but the chest is only going to try to rotate to the right at about 20% effort. So you guys hold still. You're attempting to turn your chest like this. You're trying to rotate, but Your hands are blocking. So, if you adjust it, readjust, get back in your stretch, brace your core, lock your hands down, and then we're going to try to rotate to the right 20%, turning from the collarbones. And then we try to go for 30, for 40%, flexing the whole rib cage. We're going to go to 50%, whole core and rib cage, 60%, and we're just going to hang out at 60% for today. Turning the chest, turning the ribs, turning the lower back. Everything is attempting to go to the right, but our hands are keeping us pinned in place. Fighting ourselves for another 3, 2, 1. Now, hands go dead, and you're going to attempt to turn yourself farther to the left as much as you can. Don't use your arms at all, just use your core. Stay tall, turn the chest, turn the shoulders, turn the core, flex the core. Sit bones are still on the ground. Keep twisting for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Grab the chair, take a breath, and now you should be able to pull yourself deeper. Big pull, big stretch, big inhale, big exhale. Some of you may pop. You're welcome. Enjoy. Inhale, exhale. And now we'll slowly come off of this because some of that gets a little rough in the spine. And now we will do the same thing on the other side. You guys should just twist the other direction. I'm just turning so y'all can see me. Same game. Butt bones are still. Legs are on the inside edges of the chairs to block us. Right hand comes around the back of the chair. Left hand comes down low to find a grasp, wherever that lever may be for you. And we pull ourselves into rotation. Even pressure on your butt bones as best you can, turning as much as they'll let you. Now, once we find our stretch, remember, just a good stretch, nothing crazy. We're not trying to hurt ourselves. Big breath in, big breath out. Big breath in, breathe deep, swell the chest. Out. One last time. Inhale. Exhale. All right, now we should have hopefully turned a little bit more at the end of those breaths. Just like before, guys, our hands lock us down, our core gets tight, and we're going to attempt to turn to the left, but our arms are blocking us. So we're starting light at about a 20% effort, turning with the collarbones and the chest. 30% effort, 40% effort, flexing the whole core. 50%, whole rib cage and lower back is working with us. 60%, trying to fight for more, and we're going to hold here. Just keep fighting 60, keep flexing 60, keep thinking deep spine stuff as we try to rotate more for 60. Holding for another 3, 2, 1, and we reverse. Hands go dead, hips stay still, and we twist our torso as far as we can. Turn the chest, use the abs, turn the rib cage, turn the lower back. Fighting for more for 5, 4, keep twisting. 3, 2, more core till the very end, and 1. Hands grab again. Take a breath in, breath out, and we should open up a little more rotation. Once we get all the way into it, big breath in, big breath out, big breath in, big breath out. And come off of that. Let's just kind of wiggle the spine around and relax. So from here, let's just stay on the edge of our seat. We're going to go through more spinal segmentation. So we're going to take one yoga block between our thighs, and one on the chest. We're thinking rib cage, just like we did before. Same exact thing we did from that kneeling position or standing position. Chin goes down, core is strong from here, and we try to wrap our spine around our yoga block. Taking it down, big deep crunch, feel that active stretch come through your back. Tuck your ribs, really try to make it happen. and then we reverse it. Bottom rib goes up and forward, next rib goes up and forward, next one, next one, next one. We're thinking domino effect through the rib cage. We lift the chest, we lift the collarbones, we lift the elbows. We're flexing through that upper back, pulling the base of the neck backwards, trying to find a nice arch. Give it a little pull, a little challenge, try to feel all that cool stuff work. You might feel like it's cleaner this time, hopefully. And then the chin and elbows go down. Chin hits the chest, and we re-crunch. Peel it open, crunch it down, getting as low as you can get it to go. If your elbows hit your hips or your chest hits your hips, that's fine. Just make sure you're getting the most bend out of your spine you can. And from the bottom, we reverse it one last time. Ribs up and forward, bottom rib up and forward. Next rib up and forward, next rib, next, next, next. Chest bone rises, collarbones rise, elbows lift. We find this extension. We lift the heart. We try to grow the chest tall. We take a big breath in. Exhale. Try to lift more. Inhale. Exhale. Relax. Come on. All right. So that's our spine, love. We're going to get rid of our chair. We're going to get rid of our yoga blocks. And we're going to finish up with one last shoulder exercise. That could be a little challenging for some. It could just simply feel great for others. Either way, we're going to make sure we try to get the most out of this. So, you're going to need your PVC pipe or whatever you got. If you don't have one of these, yoga blocks will be just fine. That should be, or not yoga blocks, excuse me, tennis balls. Tennis balls you can also be used. So, we're just going to lay it on the mat. Arms are going to go out in front. And we are going to attempt some shoulder flexion lift-offs. So, basically, we're going to be lifting off the ground. But how we lift off the ground is what matters. So, first things first, we're going to tuck the hips, then we're going to tuck the ribs, and then we're going to lift. So, what does that look like? Forehead is going to be on the ground. Ladies, if you are well endowed, you're going to have to do the best you can to make this comfortable. I want you to do your best to keep the chest as flat to the ground as possible, but I know that only means so much for some of y'all. Do your best. So, forehead down. Now, think about tucking your hips. So that's going to think like squeeze the butt cheeks together, and then almost like you're going to lightly thrust into the ground. Just a little, like you're going to scoop your butt. And your lower back should almost look like it flattens if you get that right. From here, take a big breath in, and a big exhale to sink your ribs. And you should feel those ribs tuck and flex. Now you're going to try to keep the ribs still. You're going to try to keep the butt still. Our arms are going to hold onto our pipe just outside of shoulder width apart, and then we're going to lift. So we lock everything in, we grip our pipe, and we try to float our pipe off the ground, holding as high as we can for 3, 2, down. All right, that's number one. So from here, it's very difficult for me to talk as we do this, so you guys try to follow along as best we can. I'm going to do my best to be as loud as possible so y'all can hear me. So forehead is down, ribs are tucked, hips are tucked, core is tight, elbows are straight. We're going to go through 9 lifts back to back to make 10 total, and then we're done. All right, here we go. Some will be slow, some will be fast. We brace the core, again, just to make sure we're solid. We lift, pulling with the shoulders, holding for 3, 2, easy down. We tap and come back up for 3. Hold, 3, 2, down. Tap, up for 4. 3, 2, down, tap, up for 5, come down, tap, up for 6, down, tap, up for 7, hold, straight elbows, long body, hold, hold, hold,
Slow down. Tap. Up for 8. Fight for it. Slow down. Tap. Up for 9. Last one. Down. Tap. Up for 10. Fight for it. Hold. 5, 4, 3, 2. Easy down.
And relax. If you were like me, chances are that last rep was just barely off the ground. It might not have even made it, and that's okay. So, from here, guys, we're going to go through one shoulder car slow all the way around, and then we'll be done for real, for real. Tennis balls are going to come in hand. We're going to go both arms at the same time. You guys can be standing. You don't have to be like me on the knees. So, here we go. We're not going to cut across. We're just going to go up and forward. So we're going to point the tennis balls forward in front of us. Our elbows are strong and straight. The core is braced. And we're going to flex as we cut through the air. Up and overhead. As we come up and overhead, we're going to think good tall posture. Strong abs. From here, lock in the elbows. Turn the tennis balls. Rotate through the arms as you reach back behind you, creating the biggest rotation and circle possible until they end up all the way back at your hips. From here, real slow, guys. Shoulder blades and arms all pull back together. Big reach, big pull. From here, take a breath in. Exhale. Pull for more. Inhale. Exhale. Pull for more. One more. Inhale. Exhale. Pull for more. Now we slowly unwind the arms. We twist through the biceps, through the shoulders, through the arms. Everything is rotating. Think open shoulder blades as we come up to the top. And as we get to the top, we're just going to control the smooth, strong chop down. And we are done with today's class. So, thank you guys for following along with me. If y'all have any questions about anything we did in today's class, or maybe you need some different setups for some of the same stuff we did, please direct message me, comment, whatever you need to do. Reach out to me. I'm happy to help you guys make the most out of this training. I hope you guys had a great workout. I hope you guys feel a little better after this, hopefully a little tired too. And we will see you on the next one. Thank you so much, guys. Please be sure to tell your friends. I am taking new students right now for Kin Stretch with Nathan, and I want to grow this as much as I can going into 2021. So please, please share the word, and let's make mobility awesome. Let's make shit work nice so you guys can do anything you want to do with your body. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see y'all soon.